Thank you. You may, please.
Mr. Alvarez, prior to, may I continue, Judge? Prior to June 25th, 2009, would you say you were even, you wouldn't say you were friends with Dr. Murray, would you?
We were acquaintances.
Acquaintances. You
Yes.
saw him on occasion, right?
At the property, I would see him, like I said, 5 or 6 times a week.
You said good morning to him.
Yes, sir.
He would say good morning to you.
That is correct, sir.
But you never had any long conversations?
We had a couple of conversations, sir.
You didn't talk about your families or anything like that?
No, sir.
I guess the question I have for you is, can you think of any reason why Dr. Murray would think with him to hide evidence?
Objection. Argument. This assumes facts not in evidence. Counsel's testifying.
Sustained.
Do you have that kind of relationship with him that you would just simply hide evidence for Dr. Murray?
Objection. Assumes facts not evidence. That he never said he was hiding evidence. He said he was following.
Counsel don't have to argue. Sustained.
All right, so other than the conversation about the pulse oximeter, did you have any other long conversations with Dr. Murray?
Yes, I did.
All right, and when was this?
It was a few months before that, or a couple of months before, when I made we personally introduced each other to ourselves, where he was introducing himself as who he was and what his position was, sir.
All right. Other than that, any other conversations?
We did have a conversation in the trailer, but it was with all the securities in the property, sir.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Now, during the period of time that you were at the trailer on June 25th, 2009, you were there at about 10:20, something like that?
Correct.
And you received a phone call from Michael Lemire at around 12:15, something like that? We have it up here. We have 12:18. Is that right?
12:17,
Yeah, all right.
12:18, yes.
And so for 2 hours, you knew that Dr. Murray's car was there,
Correct.
right? And you don't know what was going on inside the house at the time.
No, sir.
But for all you know, Dr. Murray was in there for the entire 2 hours, right?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
No, sir.
Other than during the conversation that you had, I'll take this back. Other than handing you and telling you these things, was there any conversation between the two of you about why you were doing this?
No, sir.
No conversation whatsoever.
No, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chernoff, thank you. Mr. Walgren, redirect exam.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Alvarez, you see this chart, Defense Exhibit G, that Mr. Chernoff made?
Yes, sir.
When you walked into the room and were momentarily shocked and reached for your phone, items 1, 2, and 3, that's one event, right? I mean, that's essentially all happening simultaneously?
Sustained.
Was that happening all simultaneously?
Yes, sir, it was.
When you escorted the children, comforted the children, walked to the door, and then closed the door, was that all simultaneously happening?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay. So as you're walking the children to the door, you're comforting them, and then you close the door.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, that's one kind of simultaneous event.
That is correct.
When you come back in, and Dr. Murray said it was a bad reaction, and you froze, he then asked you to, he then said, he reached for the bike. And then you picked up the plastic bag, he dropped them in, and you indicated previously for the record that you just dropped the bag into the other bag.
Correct.
Okay, that was all basically one simultaneous or preceding event.
Correct, sir.
Okay. You then were told to go to the ID stand. You went over the ID stand, you took the bag off the ID stand, and you dropped it in the bag. And that was all one continuous event.
Correct, sir.
Okay. Is it fair?
Slow down just a tad for Ms. McNeil's benefit.
I apologize.
I see steam coming from. Please.
But this was all one fast-paced, continuous series of events. Is that fair to say?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And you did not, for example, number 4, you did not escort the children, terminate the process of escorting the children, and then start a new task of comforting the children, did you?
No, sir.
Okay. Simultaneously.
Bring them out. I was telling them, please, children, everything's going to be okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Walgren, thank you. Recross, Mr. Chernoff.
Thank you. Are you saying, Mr. Alvarez, that all these events were simultaneous?
Everything was happening very quickly, sir.
I'm sure it was.
Yes.
Sure was. Do you think that you could have performed all these events that are listed here in half a minute?
That's what happened, sir. I
Really?
mean, if that's the time frame, sir, that's what happened.
In half a minute? Is that what you're saying?
I'm very efficient, sir.
I guess so.
Questions and answers, please.
Well, let's talk about escorted children, right? Okay. You testified earlier when I asked you that you were concerned about the children. Were you concerned about the children?
Well, I mean, I've always had a concern for the children, sir.
Well, and you didn't push them out the door, shove them out the door?
No, sir, but I'm sure that with the way I was speaking, the children were very respectful, sir, and they followed instructions very well.
And when you classified yourself as being frozen, did you do that very efficiently as well?
I mean, when I say frozen, sir, I do mean, stuck for a period of time, but not to the extent where I couldn't move or I couldn't take an instruction, sir.
I realize you, but frozen to you is, what does that mean to you when you describe frozen?
Well, for lack of better words, I could have meant stunned or, just...
But that's not the word you used.
Okay,
You used the word frozen.
okay,
You know what that means.
right.
I'll pass away.
Thank you, Mr. Chernoff. Redirect, Mr. Walgren?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. May Mr. Alvarez step down, subject to recall, Mr. Walgren?
Yes, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Chernoff?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Alvarez, I want to thank you for your testimony. Please do not discuss it or the facts of the case with any other witness until we finish the trial. And while you may step down and leave, you are to remain on call, which means you're subject to recall until the end of the trial. Is that all right?
Understand, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Mr. Walgren, Ms. Brazil, could you obtain the materials?
Yes.
And you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Kai Chase.